Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Investment Talks with Harmony podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Jorden Simmons. He's a brilliant real estate investor and brings with himself tons of experience, specializing in various aspects of investing in multifamily, renovations, BRRRs, flips, name it, he has done it all. He brings vast knowledge, and I'm so excited to have him on this podcast and to learn more from him. So, without waiting anymore, let's bring him on the show and stick to the end of the episode to get all the bits and pieces. And hope you enjoy the show. Let's get started. Today we have a very dear friend of mine and a very special guest, Mr. Jorden Simons. Welcome, Jorden. Welcome to the episode. Thank you so much for taking time off. I know you have been very busy lately with lots and lots of new surprises and new adventures in life going on. So, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm doing great. As you mentioned, lots going on recently in life. Just the newborn baby came about a month ago. He's creeping up on a month old now. So that's been amazing, huge blessing in our lives, and everyone's happy and healthy. We're out of the hospital, and it's been great. It's been a great transition, and I'm just loving every minute of it. I love it. So I love being a dad. It's been awesome.
Yeah, congratulations, many congratulations to you and your family. I'm sure you're going to be a great dad because I know you're a great person by heart. So I'm sure you're going to do awesome. You're going to be great, and looking forward to how you grow and how your adventure goes on from here.
I appreciate the wise words. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so would you like to give us a bit about who you are to our listeners, a brief introduction of yourself, please?
Yeah, so my name is Jorden Simmons. I was born and raised in small town Saskatchewan. I find myself out by Ottawa now. We moved out here a year and a half ago, me and my spouse. I was in the oil industry for about just over 10 years in Saskatchewan, and it was amazing. Met good people, good money, all that stuff, but it wasn't my passion. I found myself just going day to day and just kind of not feeling my purpose and my passion. I didn't really like it. I was getting I just didn't like it anymore. So I started getting into real estate in 2017. I went to a boot camp, and that's how I got into it. And that kind of changed the whole trajectory of my career, actually. That's where it kind of kickstarted. It was 2017 at that boot camp. 6 months later, I bought my first property, and from there, I've just been growing the portfolio from there with a few different strategies. And now I found myself out in Ottawa. We've been here for a year and a half. It was a business move. It was a personal move too. On the personal side, my spouse is from out by here, so it was hard to leave friends and family back in Saskatchewan, but we do travel back and forth from time to time. On the business side, it was amazing because being so close to Ottawa, there's so many other investors and like-minded people I can surround myself with. So that's been a huge value to my personal growth. So it's kind of a good win-win on both sides. It's been a great move. It's been great.
Yeah, you have quite a tremendous journey, and kudos to you. You took action right away. Like you mentioned, you attended a boot camp and you bought your property in just like 6 months. So that's very commendable because it takes a lot. You have to build the confidence, you have to get the knowledge, and you have to do lots and lots of research, right? So it really shows that you are very disciplined and dedicated when it comes to business. And what led you to real estate? Like, did you get it, learned it from someone? Did someone advise you, or you have an idol that you look up to, or you read some books? How did you think about that, and how did you saw the potential in that?
Yeah, so I always knew I was going to be doing something with business. I've always been, since I was young, like very intrigued with business, and I didn't know exactly what that was. And in 2017, I was introduced to a boot camp. It was a 3-day boot camp in Saskatchewan. I drove 2 hours to the city to get there and spent 3 days doing that boot camp. And through that boot camp, it just opened so many new avenues, doors into real estate investing that I had no idea. Nobody was talking about that in my circle. I've never heard of these strategies. I was a homeowner at that point, but no one told me how to buy my even my principal residence, as small as that is. Nonetheless, that you can invest in real estate and make this a business. So that was so intriguing to me. Like I came out of that 3-day boot camp and it was just like my mind was blowing. Um, just as simple as coming from a consumer mindset to investor mindset, learning the difference between an asset and a liability. There was just so many eye openers from that weekend. And from there, I was fully immersed. I got a coach, some education, and I was off the races from there. And then 6 months later, yeah, I bought my first property, and it's kind of the trickle effect from there. Doing a few different strategies and seeing what works for me, and
Yeah.
applying what I know, all the education that I've had, and applying it to real world. So it's been amazing. That's kind of where it started, was that 3-day boot camp, and honestly just being around like-minded people like yourself and other individuals that kind of push each other to go further and keep progressing and keep growing. So
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of courage, because once buying your primary home, it's a big challenge in itself, right? And
yeah,
it's never I have never heard it's a pleasant experience. It's not for most of the people, and that's because of I think the environment that's set up for everyone, with the people working there for primary residents, like the in the industry people there, even the government schemes and everything. So you are pushed towards having a mindset that, okay, having the first home, it's kind of a big bit of a chaotic experience, and you think that, okay, buying another property and investing in that, I don't know how overwhelming it's gonna be, and what are there are lots and lots more challenges in that. And it takes a lot of time too to build up the down payment, and understand and learn about the process of getting a mortgage, closing, dealing with lawyers and everything. So it does take a bit to get that mindset shift from being a just a primary homeowner and being an investor. But yeah, if you have, as you said, you had the dedication, you had kind of a business mindset since the beginning. So that really trickled you with and ticked you when you went to the boot camp, and you said that, yes, this is what I want. It relates to my personality, and I would enjoy doing that. So, what kind of properties do you invest in? Is there any particular strategy that you like, or any particular property types that or market you invest in?
yeah. So I started out doing single family homes, and that was just kind of what I was learning about at the time with the education platform I had and the coach I had. So that was a great entry into the market.
Yeah,
Um, I got a few single family homes. I did some BRRRR, so buy, renovate. Did that strategy, and then also did a flip after that, and I did a typical buy and hold, just no refi or anything, just a straight buy and hold. I've done that, land development, and a few other strategies. So I kind of jumped around, and this year specifically, I've got into multifamily, learning about multifamily, educating myself on that, being around people that are buying apartment buildings and investing in multifamily. So that's where I'm kind of going now, is the multifamily direction. But I also am still looking at the single family too. It just goes back to just the basic fundamentals when I started, what makes a good
right.
investment property. So
Yeah,
so yeah, a few different avenues, I guess. I love the BRRRR strategy. You can get your funds recycled back and have zero money in. I love that strategy. I've done that a few times. That's really kickstarted my journey when I first started. When you don't have a lot of money and you don't want to use other people's money because you don't want to lose other people's money. I was always like, I want to lose my own money before I lose
yeah.
anyone else's. So I always put my money in, and that's served its purpose over and over and over again. And yeah, it's been nothing short of amazing. Now I got a small portfolio, all funded by myself and a few other investors, and it's been great that way. So I'm going into multifamily, but I'm still focusing on some single families as well.
So kind of you explore different avenues and saw what works best for you and what you like more, and what you are open to opportunities as soon as the deal works. But it's good that you have experience, like having a single family or having a buy and hold in multifamily, that's very different than doing a BRRRR, right, or doing a flip.
Hmm.
So it takes a different skill sets for approaching different strategies, and it's great that you explored the different ones, because you end up learning more skills doing that, I believe, and you also
Yeah.
end up meeting a lot of people in uh, different skills, having different skills. Like in renovations, you deal with people working as a contractor or doing renovations, making upgrades, and but in buy and hold, you also get to deal with tenants, right?
Hmm.
Dealing with
Hmm.
them, so that's a completely different situation. So absolutely, a very incredible journey. And so, are you doing this from the beginning, or did you have a job before this? How did you start?
Yeah, so when I started in 2017, I was still working full time in the oil and gas industry. So I was working basically when I bought my first property. It was very minor renovations, and we got it rental ready. We still own that one asset today. Actually, it's been amazing. And then I bought my second house 6 months later after that one, and I've done all the work myself with that property. And there's so many, besides the money, there were so many good takeaways from those. Doing the renovations myself, like knowing how to buy product, where to buy product, how to do the any renovations that required me to, like, I did everything myself. So it was it was great because now I know, going back, it just added to my tool belt, I guess, with the renovation, dealing with the property management and the tenants. I've learned that side of things. So doing everything myself off the start really came full circle to me as a investor now, because I
Right.
know I know the game. I know what they're dealing with. I know I can speak their language. And I still actually property manage my properties from afar today. I have a small portfolio in
Wow.
Saskatchewan, and I still hold those properties and manage from afar. So I can do tenant turnovers, applications, everything like that. Line up our trades, contractors, property managers to go in and out, all from afar from my office in Ottawa. And I have an amazing team on the ground to pick up anything I need. So it's been an amazing mindset transition, because I always thought you would have to invest in your own backyard.
Yeah.
And I had two choices when I moved out to Ottawa here a year and a half ago. I sell everything, sell all my real estate, or keep it and manage from afar. I surrounded myself with other people that had investments all across Canada. They didn't live in their own backyard and invest in their own backyard. So I knew it was possible, and that was just kind of the growth mindset I had over the last year and a half. That's like, it is possible. It is possible to have investments outside your own province and backyard. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you manage your portfolio, your properties sitting here in Ontario, and most of it is in Saskatchewan.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So coming back to your first property, was it a flip, or was it a bird kind of property?
It was a bird type property. I bought that. It was a pretty standard. Bought off a coworker. I was just getting into real estate. It was a good long term buy and hold. That was a great entry into the market, I guess, just to get something. And then 6 months later, I bought a property sight unseen. That was pretty crazy experience over the phone at an auction. I just did a post
Wow.
about that the other day. Yeah, that was insane. That was insane. That's just the power of knowing your market. I bought in the same market I bought my first house in, and I can't tell you how much research and due diligence I did on that first property. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it adds
uh,
up, right? It helped you for the
yeah, it
second
adds
one.
up.
You were like, okay, go all in right away. You're so sure.
Yeah, I was at my day job that day. I couldn't get away. There's 60 some bidders. I actually just had to call my realtor that morning. I was working on another property, and I couldn't close this. We couldn't meet in the middle with the sellers. We were just a little bit, the sellers weren't ready for me yet, I don't think, on that property. And I was kind of bummed out. 3 hours later, here I have another property under my belt. Like, I didn't know. It was just crazy. It was a crazy experience. 6 hours later, after that morning, I'm walking to the property that I just bought. So,
Wow,
um,
unseen, sight
yeah,
unseen.
sight unseen. I can't tell you the emotion walking up to that property, sight unseen. After I just bought it, I'm like, what did I just buy? Like, it was insane, but it worked out. I mitigated my risk, probably because of a lot of the education I had,
Yeah.
and lots of who I was calling at the time was my friends and family, and I said, like, this is a smoking deal I just bought it. I'm so excited, and my friends and family were like, "What are you doing? You can't buy a house like sight unseen. And what about this? What about this? What about that?" And fast forward to 5.5 years later, I still got the asset. It's been performing amazing over the last 5 years.
Awesome.
No money in on it. Did a successful BRRRR. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. So that really kickstarted. That really opened my eyes. That, like, hey, I bought this property. I put renovations. I got the capital back out, and I got way more than I put back in. Now let's
Yeah.
go do this again, right? So that was just like a big mind, like expanding my mindset. What
Yeah.
can be done in real estate
It's
with
possible.
the 100%. It is possible. So with the correct strategies, knowledge, people in place, it's insane what you can achieve. So from
Yeah.
there, it really just kickstarted my journey.
Oh, no, that's great. I've always been intrigued. Like, I have heard people buying properties in auctions, but I have never been to one myself. But I've heard that you can find true gems over there, and I think the properties have liens over them, or they are, or the bank, the person is not paying the mortgage, or you just have to pay the minimum, like, property taxes, and you get set the property free, and then you have it on your own. So how can one know more about these auctions, and how to know when they're happening or where they're happening? Is there a place? Is there a website, or someone that we can reach out to?
Now that I'm getting into bigger properties, I'm not so much on the auction sites, but back in the day when I was looking to grow my single family portfolio and in my niche markets, I just looked at auction companies around me and see what when they had any real estate coming up, and I would always tune in. I would always see where they're going to be listing their property, and then I would do some research, get some maybe tour like drive around the property without going in or anything. Just kind of do some market research on that front. This one I bought sight unseen. It just so happened, like I said, I bought it 6 months prior, so I had all the research done. I knew the market demographics, tenant profile, so I was very comfortable buying it sight unseen. But today, yeah, more or less, I don't really go to auctions anymore. But it was a true gem. It was a person, they just wanted to get rid of it. They were moving, and they just were gonna go the auction route rather than the realtor route. So
Yeah.
I was able to make a win-win for both of us. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
No, that's great. You found a very good one, because usually I've heard most of them are just empty lands, like, out of nowhere, and it's rare to find a good property. And I've not heard if there's a multifamily also available in auctions, but they might be. Why not? I don't see a reason why not, right? So
There
you
is,
never
there
know
is.
what you're gonna find when stepping into an auction.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole different ballpark. I would say do your due diligence. It's a different game. Know your auction, the rules of the auction, and your down payments and your timelines and stuff. That's very important. That varies from auctioneer to auctioneer, auction company to auction company. So do your due diligence on that. It's not for everyone. But yeah, speaking of multifamily, I just seen yesterday
Yeah.
there is some multifamilies coming up for bid in Saskatchewan too. So
Wow.
yeah, definitely some multis out there on the auction.
Okay. So you do have, I believe you do have multifamilies in your portfolio, right?
I got a few small multis, yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to share something to our listeners, like what are the differences when dealing with multifamily as compared to single family, or some key takeaways you have, that you have that are very, very different when dealing with the residential or kind of single homes or even duplexes, right? So some takeaways or lessons you have learned dealing with those.
Yeah, so I mean, for multifamily, why I like multifamily, it's simply because single family house, tenant moves out, no one's paying, there's no income, right? So multifamily, if you have a fourplex, sixplex, one moves out, you're still getting income, so that's great. You're still being able to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, pay all the bills that are required. And number two, why I like multifamily is sometimes you have enough. Should be enough spread in your multifamily that you can hire the proper property management. You're not so
Yeah.
hands on, whereas you might be with a single family property, just because there's not enough spread for to hire the contractors always and hire the property manager for your single family house. So that's why I like the bigger multifamilies, because then you can have a property manager looking after it. You can have trades involved, and it kind of frees up your time to work on the business rather than do all the day-to-day stuff. So deal with the tenants and the property management. So I love that aspect. Another thing is increasing rents in multifamily increases the value of the building, whereas single family, it's based on comparables. So that's another thing I like. Different, both have its pros and cons, and
Yeah.
both you can make money. Both is a great strategy depending on what it is, but you have to know the difference between multi and single family houses, and they're both two different approaches, two different strategies that both are very successful when you do them right. But it's important to understand the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, even the price range, like the single family is the most expensive real estate you can buy, right? And
Perfect word. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
multifamilies, they are, people believe that they are very, very expensive or out of the reach. But even in multifamily, there's a lot of difference between going commercial and going residential for multifamily. So most of the institutions, they cover 5 or 6 units up as commercial, and that's a game changer. If you go into the commercial space, now you have to assess the property, the asset itself, rather than just assessing the owner or the buyer. So the financing changes drastically, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm learning right now too. The differences of getting a commercial financing, it's not that easy, I would say, but once you have one or two in your portfolio, I think it gets easier from there.
100%, totally. And they look at the asset differently with a single family than multifamily. Multifamily, they look more at the asset, the building value and the income from the building, and
Right.
you secondly. Whereas you personally got to guarantee they look at you solely on the
Yeah.
residential sides for a single family. So that's important to note too. Yeah,
Yeah, so if you ran out of credit, if you have used all your maximum borrowing power, then you are done. You can't just, you cannot get anything else. You just have to go into commercial space now. And
exactly.
it doesn't, I learned this too recently. It doesn't matter if you have 3 or 4 triplexes in your portfolio, but if you go for commercial financing, then you have to start from zero because you don't have a commercial asset under your belt. So the triplex or fourplex experience, it does not count for commercial. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's very interesting to learn. And uh, coming back to your skill set, I know you're quite handy with your tools, and you're quite experienced with doing a lot of DIY stuff. So how did you get into it? How did you know that this is something you enjoy or you like doing, or how did you learn those kind of skills?
yeah. So I think I started with like my dad was kind of a man. He was kind of a craftsman alone, so I kind of picked up on that from him a little bit, and then just doing my own principal residence, that was huge. Just kind of learning the ropes there, and then buying my first investment property, and we didn't really have enough money to hire anyone out, right? So we had to figure out how to do it ourselves. Luckily, I have family and friends that are very handy, and I've learned from them over the years. And just trying it, and you get better every time you do it. Sometimes you have to do it twice, but yeah, just getting in there and getting your hands dirty and just trying it. It really helps. YouTube, Google, as weird as it sounds, and then leverage your network, leverage your trades. Any questions, I have an electrician, I have a plumber I can call, and contractors I can call. So leveraging those networks really helped me out too. But at the end of the day, it's just getting your hands dirty and trying, just going in and trying it. Yeah.
Yeah, so go for it, but make sure you don't hurt yourself, or you know what you're doing. So probably watch a YouTube video before using the
Yeah.
new tool.
Or have someone leverage your network, like have some, like a friend, a family member, a contractor, watch how they do it, get them in one time, watch how they do it, ask all the questions, absorb everything that they're doing,
Right.
and do your research before you just jump into it, obviously. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, you mentioned a very good point, leveraging your network, or maybe reach out. If you don't have someone, a friend or family, then you always have contractors, right? You can reach
Mm-hmm.
out to them and maybe get them do a project, but be on site, observe what they do and learn from them. Ask as many questions as you want, and you can absorb the knowledge as much as you can, and that's how you learn, 100%. So
100%
yeah.
exactly.
So I had a question for contractors. Like, I know you probably have dealt with them before. So yeah, we do a lot of walkthroughs. Being investors, it's part of our job, I'd say.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
have to walk properties, you have to see what's out there, and you have to analyze what fits in your buy box. So, but I've always been curious at what point do you call the contractor? Like, okay, I'm seeing a property, it has the basement, it has some water damage, and it could be a minor thing, it could be a major thing, right? It could be a foundation issue or just some damping here and there. So the price could range from a lot like $10,000, $50,000 to probably a couple of $1,000s. So at what point does one contact a contractor, and are they usually happy to answer the call and answer the in detail questions, because they're not getting paid for their time, right? They probably are very busy, especially in
Mhm.
this market, and they have a lot of other projects to do. They have where they're actually getting paid. So at what time, how does it work for contractors too? Are they happy to answer these calls, and when does an investor reach out to them? What's your view on that?
Yeah. So in my experience, it's a fine line because, like you said, they don't get paid for doing the walkthroughs. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So they do the walkthroughs with you and then hope to get the work after, right? And they'll provide you the quotes. So in my personal experience, what I've tried to do is I've had my go-to contractor, and when I don't necessarily always get them on the first walkthrough, I'll do the walkthrough, make sure everything's good. If I want to proceed, if I'm very interested, do the numbers, make sure there's so many moving parts that the contractor can come in the second walkthrough. And depending on the timeline and the deal, and every deal is different. I've had contractor come with me on the first walkthrough just because the timeline of the deal we had it on a contract for. But sometimes if I can, I get them on the second walkthrough, and that way I don't waste their time. I know I'm going to be moving forward with this. I just need a few accurate quotes in order to do my due diligence properly. And
Right.
sometimes getting more than one quote is necessary as well. So maybe getting you. I know lots of investors have two contractors under their tool belt. One's might be busy. You always get a
Yeah.
second quote. But yeah, that's my experience. Is don't just call them every time you're doing a walkthrough, because they're not going to answer your call anymore. Make sure when you're calling them, and then give them value too. What I love about real estate is you can make it a win-win. You can win yourself, and everyone around you can win. So make sure you're feeding them back too, right? So make sure when you do buy the property or anything that you're providing them value too,
Yeah.
and getting them in the door where you can. So
Yeah, I love that point, because yeah, so increase your knowledge, increase your network, and learn as much as you can, because there's lots of information available on the internet, or even on YouTube. So probably increase the knowledge from there. You can get most basic questions answered just by doing Google search. So, but yeah, I love your point that you said, once you're actually interested in the property and you think this has some potential, that's the point when you reach out to them and get a quote from them. And no, I love that point. So contractors, it's been hard to reach out to them because they're so busy right now, and they always have projects going on. So you do need to have more and more. You can't just rely on one unless you have built a certain relationship that, okay, you give a call to him and he's going to answer it for sure, right? So it
mhm.
takes time,
Yeah.
but for investors just starting up, you have to build the relationship too. And I loved your point that you said provide value. So
Mhm.
my next question for you is that most of us, like, we do watch on YouTube, and we do some basic DIY. Probably me, not as much as you do, but I try. So Home Depot is the favorite go-to store for average Joe, right, to visit.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of other stores too, other suppliers too. And one good thing in here in Canada and even in North America is that you get priced different for the same product in every store. So like a faucet in Home Depot, it would be for $30, but at some other store it could be for $50 or even lower. So the stores, they put the products in a way that they get the maximum margin on that, but what do you do in these cases? Do you do a lot of extensive research, or do you have your favorite go-to store that you rely on for your renovations, or for your lipstick renos, or some DIY stuff?
Yeah, so great question. I usually go to like the three big box stores primarily. I've heard of other investors going to like Restore and upscale like stores that recycle cabinets and whatever, but I typically go to the three big box stores, and we're so accessible to the internet now. It's pretty easy to pop up three tabs: Home Depot, Rona, and Lowe's, and just compare what you're looking for on those three sites. Or if you're in store, I find myself still to today, whether I'm personally or in business, and I'm going to buy something, I'll maybe just pop up on my phone when I'm in the store about to buy it, just compare price quick, just to do that. And that's all based on timeline. I've had some projects that I can't 2 weeks to get to that product or in that store and save that few extra dollars. So I just time is sometimes money as well. So that's important too. But
Yeah.
when I was starting, I remember I would be coming home at like 10, 11 at night, and I would be searching online from like 11 o'clock to 1 a.m. what I need for next week's renovation project. So let's get some flooring, let's get some paint next week. We're going to do the doors, and you know what I mean. So I would be juggling a few different websites, kind of finding a product, how much is here, how much is there. That was when I was starting with very limited funds and a little bit more time. Um,
Right.
but that's not always the case. Sometimes I just go local. We just need it. We got get it done, get in there, get out, and that adds value too. It's just being quick, in and out, in and out. So that saves money as well. So it really depends. But I typically just go to the three big box stores. And one good thing about that, I'm just going to note too. When I was starting out, they the BRRRs and stuff didn't have a whole lot of money, so I would go and apply for their Home Depot credit card, Lowe's credit card, and you
Yeah.
can get 0% for 6 months sometimes on approved credit. So that's how I started my real estate investing journey with my BRRRs. I gave myself 6 months to do the renovation and get the refi, and that essentially allowed me to do all my renos with 0% interest. I didn't get,
Wow.
yeah, it was a very, I had to get creative because I was just starting out, and you know what I mean. So
No,
I got creative with it,
yeah.
and that's a really good strategy. I've heard that from other investors through my education, and it worked out amazing for me. I just would, yeah, apply for their credit card, their loyalty program, or whatever it is, and it's sometimes 0% for 6 months. You just can't go wrong with that. That's amazing. So
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, and I wanted to ask you this one that you mentioned when starting out. So, for investors just starting out and just getting to just starting to build up their portfolio, so what kind of renovations or cosmetic lipstick repairs that one can do without much knowledge, getting deep into the renovation side of things?
I mean, basically for someone that's starting out with a renovation project and you're not very versed in the renovation game, I would say probably stick to like pretty basic stuff. Trim, maybe painting. Flooring can be a little bit trickier depending on the what was on there before, the subfloor, the type. So that can be tricky, but if it depends on your skill level, what you want to try to do. But every unit I've ever bought, I've at least added paint to it. So
Right.
that's a great start. It's just most people can paint, so that's
Oh yeah,
that's where I would start. Yeah,
a
yeah.
fresh coat of paint can do wonders, right?
It goes a long way. It goes a long way. And something to add to that too is I started doing neutral colors in all my units and all the same color. When I was starting to grow my portfolio, I used to have like accent walls and like just yeah. And then you go to do touch ups. Tenant over. You go do touch ups, and you're like, oh, what's that color? It's just this random color that you've never heard of, and you're like,
You're
oh
never gonna
man.
find
So
that.
yeah, you're never gonna find that. And so I started all the units one neutral color, one bright light color. It goes with everything. Tenants love it. It's so much easier for me when I go to do a tenant turnover and do any repairs and maintenance. It just fast tracks it for me. It's one paint color, and I try to do that with many things, when it's countertops or
Right.
appliances, or yeah, just have
Just
the basic
stick to
stuff.
the
Yeah,
basics, right?
yeah. It's so much easier to manage when you start to grow. So
Wow, love that too. So now we're coming to our investor toolbox section. So here, I would ask you to recommend any three tips or books or any resources, YouTube channel or some Facebook page or anything that's your go-to for someone who is looking to get started into reno work and learn more about it.
Okay, so yeah, so to get into like real estate investing, I would say what kind of kickstarted me as well as most people was the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah,
That kickstarted it for me. That's I was kind of
that's the
already a
Bible
few
of real estate.
that insane. It's such a great book. It opens your mind to what's possible, and so that recommend that 100%.
Yeah,
I followed like Grant Cardone on YouTube for many years. He's been in the real estate game for he's a very successful real estate entrepreneur. So I followed him. And just getting around like local investors, being around yourself and other people that are in networks and educated themselves, spent the time and money to get where they are today. I also would encourage people to join a like-minded network to learn from individuals around you because that's so valuable. That's so valuable.
right. Awesome. No, I love that. Absolutely. And this is how you learn, right? You need to read the books, you need to watch. There's so much even free information out there that you can learn a lot. But yeah, you have to get the discipline, that you have to give the dedication, that okay, I will do this consistently, I will read this or I'll watch these videos. And it takes time, it takes time to build up. It just not happens overnight. Doesn't work like that. And if it does, it's not going to last very long.
I
So
love that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I love that tip. And the next segment is my favorite. It's a myth or fact section. So here I'm gonna give you a statement, and you have to present your view that if it's a myth or a fact based on your judgment. Okay.
Okay, let's
So
do it.
so the statement is it's always cheaper to do the renovations yourself as compared to getting it done by someone else.
Huge myth, in my opinion. A huge myth. I was going to say that earlier too. When you're just you don't know how to do something, don't do it. Sometimes you're gonna cause yourself issues in the future. Just hire it out. Do it the proper way. And like I said, be there with the contractor and learn how they're doing it if you want to be a do-it-yourselfer. But do it the right way nonetheless. Because at the end of the day, it's someone's home, it's someone's place that they're residing in. Just do it the right way. It's going to save you time and money in the future, and headaches in the future. Just do it the right way the first time.
Yeah, because if you mess it up, it's gonna you have to do it all over again. And
Yeah,
if you're doing it for someone else, then your name also goes bad, right? They are not
it's
gonna
not
remember
good.
you or call you in the
Yeah,
future. So you
yeah,
never want that.
exactly. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Jordan. And coming back to investing and real estate in general, uh, you come from Saskatchewan, and I love that about you, that you have grown your business in such a way that you manage your portfolio remotely from here, living in Ottawa, Ontario. So I would love to know what are your predictions for the future of real estate, and do you have any upcoming market that you're eyeing for that would be the next that's a hidden gem right now, but it would be a big boom in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I've been preaching. I'm a little bit biased because I'm from Saskatchewan, but I've been preaching Saskatchewan for a couple of years now, and we've obviously seen a huge uptick in real estate prices and trends going to that direction. But I still think it's a untapped market for investors, and I still think there's a lot of growth that's going to be happening in that province still. So I'm still thinking that's kind of the hidden gem untapped market right now. We've seen, like I said, we've seen a huge amount of growth in the last year or two there specifically, but at the end of the day, it's the most affordable province in Canada to rent to reside in. So I think that speaks volumes going forward. And I have a few projects coming up, working on some projects in there right now. So yeah, I'm very biased about that, about
It's your home
Saskatchewan,
ground.
and
You have the home advantage too, right?
yeah,
You have your
yeah.
friends there. You have probably you said you have built a team there too, but I've heard that it's not a lot of players investing in Saskatchewan right now, and is it easy, or does it make sense to find properties there just going on the market, or is it easier you find good properties by the internal network over there?
Hmm. Yeah, great question. I think both. You can find great properties on Realtor. I know people that spot amazing properties on Realtor too, but I try to source most of mine off market and through my networks and friendships and stuff. So that's kind of where I'm getting most of my deal flow is from off market that hasn't hit the market yet. Um, but regardless, you can find good deals on both. I bought 90% of my deals off market, but if you don't have that deal flow yet, you can certainly buy. I still go on Realtor and search. So, yeah.
Wow, that's good to hear. There's still potential for people not living there or not having connections there. But absolutely, I agree that Saskatchewan has a lot of potential, and uh, the market is gonna grow. There's no way. There's only way but just up, right? It's gonna
Hmm.
grow, and it's gonna expand with the immigration coming up, with the
Hmm.
policies going on. I'm sure it's gonna be a great investing market in the future.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You've hit all the points there. Yeah.
So, before closing, I'd like to know that whenever I meet you, you're so full of energy, and you bring such positive and good vibes to me, and I just love hanging out with you. So, would love to know, with such a busy lifestyle and everything going on, you have a newborn recently, so probably you a lot of your time goes to taking care of the baby as well. So how do you find the motivation and desire to be always having such a charming personality? What is the fuel to your fire?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Fuel to my fire was just kind of I had the mindset that the Wolves are always at the door. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he has that mindset too, and I love that mindset that we celebrate the wins, but I still want to push forward. I still want to grow. I still want to build this massive thing that's bigger than me that can provide for generations. I want to change the people around me. So that's kind of my why. That's my big why. So that pulls me out of bed every day. That gets me doing the stuff I don't want to do, the calls I don't want to make, and that's one of my biggest whys is to change the trajectory for myself, my family, and people around me. And I want to add so much value to people around me, and that's my biggest why. And of course, recently in the last month, another huge why is my son.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a huge why too. And I feel myself grinding even harder now, even though it's lack of sleep with a newborn and we're up every hour, 2 hours. Like it's a huge why too. So it just adds the fuel to the fire being a new dad and yeah, I want to show my son what's achievable if you put your mind to it, but you have to work for it too.
Yeah, no, you're doing great, man. I saw you recently posted a picture with your son. You were attending some meetings and mastermind sessions. So he was also, so it's going into his ears, and he's learning it at a young age. So that's great. That's great mindset to you, right? That's what our parents should have done for us too. But yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be a great journey.
I'm loving it so far. It's been amazing so far. So I'm so happy. It's been a
Yeah.
blessing.
No, thank you so much for sharing everything. And how can our listeners, our audience, get in touch with you and know more about you, follow your journey?
Yeah, so they can just reach out to me on Facebook, Jorden Simmons on Facebook, and just send me a DM and we can connect from there, Zoom or whatever works. I love connecting with new people, like-minded individuals, and anyone that just wants to talk real estate. I love talking real estate. My spouse probably gets sick of it, so I love meeting new people that discuss real estate and talk shops. So just reach out to me on Facebook and we can go from there.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much again for joining us on the episode. And we wish you all the good luck, and can't wait to see your journey going on from here. Wish you the best, buddy.
I appreciate you having me today. Thank you so much, and all the best to your new podcast.